Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Headspace Podcast, episode 101, where we're going to talk about Lil Peep,
so fast?
Come Over When You're Sober, Part 2, the album, and we're going to review it. Okay, if you're not that, my name is HSR.
My name's Chris Chrome.
And if you're not that interested in the introduction bit in the description of the video, you will be able to see the full itinerary of this episode where we are about to talk about this album track by track, give our thoughts, our opinions, our honest reactions to the music, going through it. But just understand that we are just regular people, working folk with jobs who have this passion.
The energy's real, guys, today.
Thoughts. Yo, it's the morning. This is like the...
It's like starting afternoon.
It's like one of the earliest we've been recording in like ages because, you know, it's exciting. I'm pretty into the Peep.
We were
Anyway.
prepped. We were prepped. I was prepped. I was ready to go.
Anyway, so before we jump up into the episode, and just bear with us, you know, we're just regular folk, like I said. We do care about your opinion a lot, so anything you want to throw into that comments, we're going to read, negative, positive, whatever. And I say that because last week was episode 100, so we did a 3-parter.
Woot woot.
And apparently, our video of our review of Swizz Beatz Poison was good enough to show up on Google results for some folk.
Oh, nice.
So we got this lovely comment from Taylor Buckley, not trolling or hating. I was like, oh, that's a good start. You guys seem dedicated. Thank you, sir. But you guys have put the right AdWords and shit behind this. It's not AdWords, it's keywords. We don't spend money on AdWords. But yes, we have keyworded it up nicely, plus played up the YouTube thing a little bit nicely. Thank you. High on, you rank high on Google. It's cool. Nobody's really commented on that before, so I thought that was kind of significant.
Nice.
Poison was just featured by Swizz on The Daily Show. And I'm like, that's cool. We didn't know about that. And instead of making a video that actually allows people to listen, okay, I mean, like, I don't know what you wanted at that point. Was it to, like, do you guys want, I'm just asking, like, in genuinity, for, like, the people who come here and, like, think this is complete trash, do you guys just want us to, like, upload the album, hit play, and, like, sit there? I don't know. It's kind of disingenuous to me. I mean, we're gonna make a channel for that because there is a demand for it, but it doesn't not to like replace the podcast. Anyway, allow people to listen. Your commentary is obtrusive to the music, lyrics, and even your opinion on it. Fine, maybe our commentary sucked on that episode. Happens here and there. Probably happens. Some of you might think we suck all the time. Whatever. Breaking down a couple of sentences without breaking down the song seems pointless. I guess. I don't know. Maybe we failed to express opinions. Like, I don't know what the expectation is. It's the goal just for me is to, like, and I'm responding to this comment because it was really interesting. Like, not a lot of people who don't like us per se or don't like what we do comment.
I just find it's a difference in perspective.
Right? Like, before you go, I don't mean to come off like defensive. I was just responding to it. Like, it's a valid opinion. Maybe our commentary is completely trash to some people, and then you go on.
My only thing that I wanted to say was it was interesting in how, like, just the comment of picking apart lines. I was just like, but it's a Swizz Beatz album. Like, the song itself, I kind of agreed with you on that. I was just kind of like, the song itself for me doesn't.
But even just to have this little discussion a little bit further, I mean, if we were to go line by line through, like, every song, this would be, like, a 4-hour review, for real. And if we were to, like, just top-level gifts, I don't know. I feel like giving the little snippets of lines that we do give, it kind of just contextualizes the rhymes and the styles and how these people put words together without, like, taking up the whole time. Maybe it's a bad choice, but I thought that was, like, a cool addition that we could do for it. Anyway, this is just, like, my honest thoughts. I just thought it would be cool, and I would love to hear from any of you that are regular viewers, new here, who watch this and have opinions, what we can do to, like, make it better for you. Just
much appreciate the comment, though. In all honesty, much appreciate the comment. We really want to know what you guys think, what we could do to be better. Let us know if you dislike it. Let us know what you dislike so we can provide what you want. We want to have this with you and have you guys as our part of the community help us do this. It's, like,
really cool that there are so many names already in the comments that, like, come back again and again, whether it's to, like, particular episodes or some people just watch a lot of them and stuff, and it's, like, really cool. So that's what we're trying to do, is grow with y'all. So whatever, just wanted to share that anyway. Before we jump into this episode, special thanks to the patrons, Linda Williams,
Woo!
super old school in 1994, Ismail Gadamsi, and Chris Prado. Y'all are awesome. We'll talk a bit about that at the end of the video.
Thank you.
But since it was all moody there for a second, I think it's appropriate to get into this week's review, where we will be talking about, Chris, please do your thing. Introduce the album we introduced.
So we're going to be speaking about, on this Headspace review, Lil Peep, Come Over When You're Sober,
It's
Part 2.
Here. It's here. It's out.
Yeah, he's been happy since yesterday.
All right, Chris, let's start with you. This is the part of the show where we talk about how we're connected to this artist and how we feel about them. How do you feel about Lil Peep?
I like Peep. I really enjoyed reviewing the Come Over When You're Sober Part 1. It was a short album, call it an EP or whatnot.
Well, I think that, on a side note, what qualifies an album just went out the fucking window this year.
Yes.
I guess it's
True.
a full-length album.
True. But I like the project. I like his emotional rawness that he carries with him. I like how he expresses himself. Since we're on the topic, rest in peace. That's
very fair. It's really sad. Anyway, I'll get to that.
Right. But I like it, and I was expecting, I got more than what I expected this to be, and I'm glad.
So for me, basically Sid, who appears on this channel every now and again there, had told me he covered a live performance of Lil Peep, and that this dude gave a genuine and sincere and honest, real performance. And as far as the Lils go, he was something special worth listening to. And I just blew him off. And then he passed, which was really sad, over the overdose. And y'all probably know the story. I don't want to spend too much time on that. But we went ahead then and did a little review of Come Over When You're Sober Part 1. And what I found in the 7 songs is the most amazing thing that came out in 2017 for me. On a no bullshit, I plan on the end of this year doing a video where I just run through my top 50 most played songs on Spotify or some shit like that. And I won't be shocked if everything on Come Over When You're Sober Part 1 is very high on that list. Maybe not the last song, just because it's farther on the album. But I don't know, I just loved it. Everything Smoke Sack does on the instrumentals is absolutely fucking ridiculous to me. Everything Pete brought in terms of brevity, energy, it just changed my perspective so much on repetition and a few other things. And understanding the honesty in his music, which was definitely exemplified through his unfortunate passing, added this weight and heaviness to the overall experience of it's when you listen to sometimes people, let's say, whining, it comes off like whining, and it's not necessarily a positive experience to listen to, or it's maybe not necessarily believable. But with Peep, you just know how real everything he's saying was, and I feel that perspective shift, and it was there even before he passed. The way he writes his music, the specific words he uses, has this honesty, and the way he expresses his lyrics that just enthralled me. So literally this entire year, I have listened to every single that at least hit the legal channels of Spotify. I never even thought to go look at that everything was leaked on fucking SoundCloud, because apparently a whole bunch of this shit was already out for a while. But I don't know, man. Everything came out. I listened to Spotlight when it dropped. I wasn't so big on 4 Gold Chains, but I listened to pretty much everything else as it's come out, and it's been one of the things I've listened to the most this year, regardless of everything we reviewed or anything. I don't know. So
he's very unique. He's very different than a lot of the other rappers that are out there.
Yeah, I mean, I even spent 2-3 hours one day going down this rabbit hole of internet threads discussing conspiracies surrounding what happened in November, and I'm man, this fandom is so loyal and interesting. So I just want y'all coming to watch this to know that I fucking love Lil Peep. I'm hoping most of y'all do. I'm 31 for real, and I feel Lil Peep is expressing things that make more sense than a lot of other shit that I've heard. And I just...
Well, it's the genuinity or genuality behind it.
But it almost
you again, we've said it before, we can tell how real it is. It doesn't just sound like lyrics. It doesn't just sound like he's putting this to create it. It literally
like
sounds like his soul, his spirit is on
and
there.
It almost like reminds me of what it's like to be like 20 and still feel that kind of like passion inside. I feel like Lil Peep has inspired me this year to like care more than I did, which is not something I expected to be saying when we reviewed Come Over When You're Sober Part 1, but it ended up happening. Anyway, from what I understand, they had more or less recorded this shit before he passed. There was a whole plan for it. Smokesack has finished it. I guess enough time has passed. The mom was cool with it, and then the album came out today. Or not today, sorry. Yesterday, officially, although it was definitely something that were like most of the songs were available prior to the album's official releasing, although I did notice a couple subtle things different on the final product on at least a couple of the tracks. So yeah, the album cover is fucking great. I just feel like it's a really good compliment to Part 1. He's just like sitting up this time, and he's kind of like sadder looking, and it just kind of just sells it. Really.
I feel like he's kind of staring out into like out of the window into the distance and like this vague kind of daisy sight. Like how he's still keeping with the room theme. He's still kind of like he's kind of get this disconnected, broken side of him.
Yeah, like it just feels like the last one, it was like funner, right? Like life was more of a party and things were cool, and now it's almost like the aftermath. You're sitting alone in your broken apartment, staring out the window, probably faded, waiting to be like sober up and shit. Like, I don't know. It's an interesting cover that I think really expresses the sentiment of this album. And
I like the drawings on the wall. It's like kind of like that child in him in a sense.
It's like an extension of the art on his body almost.
Yeah.
Like it feels like it all just flows in proper. I don't know. It's really nice. I feel like it's really nice more so having listened to the project. And at first I was just kind of like excited that it was a real cover that existed. But yeah, I don't know. Let us know what you think about the cover, or if there's some like super significance to this photo that we don't know about, or any anecdotes or factoids y'all want to share related to this. That would be really cool as we go along the way. The album title, Come Over When You're Sober Part 2, it makes me believe this is a continuation of the first album.
Yeah.
So I definitely listened to the first album this morning before the second album. And just the idea, like, come over once you like fucking calm down and, you know, last night's over, you know. Let's resolve it. It's, you know, you still get the idea. It's about a relationship, about a person, and it's like we're gonna get the conclusion to the story. Hopefully, you know, that was my feeling going into it. I don't know about you. Do you have more to comment here?
I got the same type of feeling. I was just more interested to get into the project in terms of the excitement, because as per being Part 2, it's like I kind of feel like maybe this might be the end in a sense. Like there is like there hasn't really been a let up to a sequel, like a third one or whatnot, right? I mean, so I feel like this is where we get all the information, all the answers that may have been left off of Part 1 or whatnot, or certain things.
In light of the circumstances, there is that actual finality. I mean, I'm certain there's other music that he's on that's going to surface after this,
right.
But not likely gonna be like another album quite like this, you know?
Exactly.
Which was like plotted out and ready, you know, in a sense. Anyway, yeah, so you want to jump into it?
Absolutely.
Do you have a broken smile, my all? And I would give it my all. I've talked a lot, and I will probably still talk a lot, so I think it's mad appropriate for Chris to start
you can start
our Lil Peep adventure, because the people want to hear what you think too. So how do you feel about how this project starts off?
It's great. Right off the bat, the build up in the intro, how it kind of like creeps up on you, and he starts with this like sing-songy, soft, disconnected voice. Really gets that context of like a continuation from where we left off on Part 1. It really kind of gives you this this kind of eerie feel that like time has sort of passed, and now he's kind of well, if we were to get into it, it's about a woman with a broken smile, and he kind of misses her, and he wants to be back with her, and he maybe regrets whatever happens leaving her leaving or whatnot, but just the way that the song was kind of built and put together really gives that emphasis of time passing and his pain and his memories and him kind of like reminiscing. I like it. I like it. I like the creative essence behind this. I like how he starts off and goes, I gotta go right now, that's all, nothing to it, don't expect no call, y'all been plotting on me, praying I fall, been working, I've been giving my all. And and I like how he's kind of contextualizing as well, like what he's doing, kind of how he's working, he's trying to make movements, and he's kind of addressing like he's just doing himself, he's in his own lane. Then we get into the song, and I get like in the chorus, he's kind of setting up this sense of loss. Like I was saying, the girlfriend broke up, or whatever tragic incident may have happened. They're not together no more. That's when he goes, she was the one with the broken smile. Now that it's done, she was the one that she was the one that was worth my time. Now that she's gone, I know I'm wrong. I like how he's being honest there. Whenever that idea of like, don't wait till something's gone.
I mean, I feel like just she was the one with the broken smile. So while they were together, she would like smile at him and everything would like be okay. But it was a broken smile. It was kind of like when shit's all fucked up now and things aren't proper. She wasn't really happy or anything, you know. Now that it's done, she was the one. So like, you know, when you break up with somebody, you then go into that period of like sadness, especially if you fucked up, where you realize she was so great and awesome and perfect and shit. And so she was the one. She's the one that, you know, and then you get the sense that she was the one that was worth my time. Now that she's gone, I know that I'm wrong. So now he's realizing that this same girl, all things considered, really was like this better thing for him. And he kind of wants her, you know, you get this sense of longing for her, you know, but he's recognizing his fault in everything. You know, he kind of then repeats that a bit. Now that it's done, she was the one that was worth my time. Now that she's gone, I know that I'm wrong, etc. And like that chorus just kind of drills home this sense of like reflecting. So in the timeline, you get the sense maybe in the intro, which is kind of like him pushing back and him being like, fuck y'all, and him kind of whatever sets up like maybe one emotion of what led to the breakup, like that kind of attitude, that kind of situation, and then this breakup happens, and now he's like sitting there fucking out of his mind, like sadness and shit, and then we get into like the song, like you said, but like, so it's just that contrast where now we've like moved ahead, and if we consider just on the first album, he's a little bit more living large, and he's got the Benz truck,
but it feels like, more like on the first album, his experiences in the relationship more than being over. Like it's more like there's pain, there's agonizing, well, like there's this, but
and it's like the self-awareness of him toying with her almost in this whole thing. And now it's like it's done, time has passed, and we've moved on. And I really kind of like that transition. And just to let y'all know, if you disagree with anything we're saying, that's what the comments is for. Let's have some conversations.
Let us know, like we said.
Anyway,
a line I wanted to quote was, "Give me some time, I'ma make you mine again."
Absolutely.
Give me a line so I can write you a line again. And I like how he kind of, when he's saying it, he's got this sense of determination. He's got this sense of like, I know I can be better for you. I know I can do this. But I like how he counteracts that with, give me a line, cocaine, so I can write you a line again. And that's how I interpreted it.
Yeah.
I want to take drugs so I can make songs for you so you can feel what I can say. And it's just so like that consistent contrast between, or a contradiction between wanting to be better and then still stuck in that loop of addiction or whatever it is he's going through.
Yeah, absolutely.
So that was a cool line that I really thought was put nicely. I really enjoy the instruments on this track. I really enjoy the level of musical production that is made for for this song. It carries it, and I'm gonna be saying this a lot throughout the album because there's a certain way that
Smokesack is ridiculous.
He is. There's a certain way that these beats meshed with Peep. They carry each other. Like they know. Like it's great. Overall, I did give the song a 4.2. I like it. I like what was done. I like the message. I like what was presented. Yeah.
Now, I'm not gonna lie. I'm very biased towards Lil Peep because I like the emo sounds that he draws from, and I like the hip-hop sounds that he draws from. And seeing these two things blended together in the package of Lil Peep and Smokesack in particular, the way these two dudes blend together, as Chris was describing, might be one of the best sounds I've discovered since I've been reviewing albums, in just terms of everything I could ever ask for in music. Kind of, not everything, I'm being a little melodramatic, but I'd say this is my favorite modern sound I've heard. So I'm really into it right off the jump. And I like that slow instrumental that just kind of sets up a more grander scale for this album. Like, it doesn't just start off with like dong dong dong, you know,
like it
like
really
that.
creeps up on you.
Like, it's almost like a good minute there of something. I did want to just take a quick side note to point that the hook, at least the Broken Smiles part, and I think the beat itself or something, or some alternate version of it, was out there on a Patrick Blue song featuring Christian Rose, which I listened to, where you have Peep doing that hook and then they're doing their verses. I don't know what was written first. I don't know. I know that the Patrick Blue song obviously had come out first or was leaked first, but I just wanted to throw it out there that that version exists, that I listened to it, and I much prefer the Lil Peep version personally. That's just my taste, and I was curious to know which version y'all liked more, if you had checked out the other one. I do think Chris gave an excellent summary of a lot of the parts of the song so far. I love the way that he does take this jaded perspective. It's almost like the music is what, and this lifestyle is what drove them apart, as it's really exemplified this glamorous, fast-paced life that you've already explored and shit, and the pain and the shit that's already come from it. And then by contrast, as you pointed out with that, he's doing a line to Let It Ride, I'm trying to get you back. It's like he's trying to use the same things that destroyed the relationship to re-enamor the person. It's got this beautiful honesty to it, because it makes total sense if you put yourself into the perspective of being him. It's exactly the kind of logic you have when you're rebounding and you're heartbroken and you're lonely and you feel a certain way. And I think that what Lil Peep can do is capture the brevity and essence of this particular emotion and exploit it to fucking death in the best possible way. So I don't know if that was insensitive. If it was, I'm sorry. I don't know if making death comments is cool with Peep. Sorry. Anyway, but I'm just saying I love this track. I give it a 4.75 on 5. I think that there are songs I like more on this album enough that I was not able to actually give this a better mark, because I like those other ones better than this one. And I think part of it is the long intro. While it is a beautiful thing to set up the pace of this album, part of me is just kind of like, yo, let's get to Peep already. Let's just get to Peep. And that little bit was enough to like be there, but otherwise it's beautifully composed. It's beautifully like melancholy. It's got the right kind of like, when I'm in a mopey mood, this is exactly what I want in my life. And I'm so happy to have this new slew of Peep tracks. Anyway.
Well, I'm glad the song didn't make you run away.
That's true.
And nobody was there. Please don't cry, baby, life ain't fair.
This is great.
I had already listened to this song about 25 times.
I believe it.
Before the album dropped.
I believe it. Actually, I do. You sent me.
It came out, and I was very like, I don't know. This is, I think, the one that dropped like right before the album came out. Like, I hit update on Spotify to go put on some Lil Peep, as I do sometimes, and then I saw it was out, and it was like, whatever else I was doing with my life was done. There was a new Lil Peep song. I ignored Bonnie. I hit play. I listened to Lil Peep. It was great, and I don't care if I'm going to talk too much. It's just, run away from here. Everybody's so fake. Everybody's so fake. I swear. I don't want to go back there. Take me away from here. Everybody's so fake. Everybody's so fake. I swear.
Tweeted that.
Honestly, I have a lot of trouble blending into regular ass society, because I'm all about the reals and the truths and the tryings. And maybe I'm an asshole to a lot of people, a bit of a shithead to others and whatnot, but at the end of the day, I'm often left with a sentiment that I think I can describe with many words, but Lil Peep describes very succinctly with, take me away from here, everybody's so fake, I swear, but I don't want to go back there. Everybody's so fake, everybody act like they care. Why the fuck do everybody act like they care? I was dying and nobody was there. Please don't cry, baby, life ain't fair.
It's the way he says it.
But it's also what he's saying. Like, it's stuff I can express with a lot more words, but I would never choose to express it like that. But when he says it like this, I'm like, no, that's exactly it. I want to scream that shit at the top of my fucking lungs sometimes. And I look around at this world, the social medias, you know, the work environments, the cultures that exist. And it's just like, it's not so much that everyone's so fake part. It's the why does everybody act like they care part that really hits me, right? Because I try genuinely hard to care, and that's often met with serious rejection from people who are very selective with what they care about. They care about certain things, but they're not okay with caring about other things, right? So it's okay to care about the things that are comfortable, but it's like not okay to like care about the things that are uncomfortable. And but like it's popular for everybody to care or pretend to care. So when you do care and you're surrounded by an environment with people who act like they care, it's just the most frustrating thing to see is my experience with it. And to hear Lil Peep put that on blast like that, just so bluntly, so honestly, it was very impactful for me as a person. I have basically had this song on fucking repeat since it like came out. Like, you gotta understand, I hear a lot of new music doing this channel, and very rarely does something hit me so fucking strong as this did. And it's so beautiful. And the music, man, that like faded out kind of break in the middle of the track where it just kind of like you feel like he's kind of getting high or something, and it kicks in and he's faded out, and there's like so anyway, it's definitely got this idea of like it presents as frustration, right? And
right.
From what I understand, in his hometown, which we'll get to later, he was basically rejected and pushed away, and people didn't want to hang out. His parents didn't want to let their kids hang out with him because he had tattoos and he lived different and he was kind of who he was. So he felt a lot of social isolation, and as a result, he's like, I ran away from my problems. I do the drugs when I want them. I ran away from my mama. Don't bother me with no drama.
But there's a powerful... I feel like there's a powerful way he's using that. Like, he's choosing to run away. It's not...
Yeah.
It's more the sense of, like, I'm deciding to leave, not like, oh, my God, I have to leave. You know what I'm saying?
I completely agree with you. And I like the way it's structured because he makes certain first to point out where his frustration comes from. And because he can't do anything to fix these things, it's not like... Look, if you're a real person surrounded by fake people in your environment and you're young, there's a good chance that the only way you can get out or feel differently is to maybe escape. And that's what he feels. And I know a lot of people from small towns that I've met along the way feel that way. I'm a city boy, so I don't necessarily have the literal meaning of that taken of running away in a physical sense, but I also do know what it's like to be in certain environments or, you know, where you just want to get the fuck out because you hate it there. You hate how everything is and what you have to do to be there, you know? Anyway, so he kind of puts that out. Then you got this girl. Now I'm looking for a ghost girl. I ain't never going to find her. Pain pills with my coke girl. You know, I got to get high first. So part of this, you feel like he's on tour or whatever, and he's missing this one girl that he cares about, and he's just replacing it, trying to escape.
I kind of took it as like a girl that he's trying to, like his ideal girl. Like as in ghost girl, like his perfect woman, and he hasn't found her yet.
I kind of imagine that's the ex that he's kind of obsessed with a little bit.
Yeah, I see that as well.
I mean, maybe you're right. It could be either way, which is cool.
Mm-hmm.
And, like, he kind of presents it like, you know, this is what he's doing in the meantime as part of his runaway mechanisms. It's almost like we're escaping through him. And, you know, you were everything I know, girl, ain't it funny how life work? And as he's like, you know, you can almost picture him being in this room with this one girl, banging her, almost talking to her. But as he's faded and shit, he's talking to this girl in the room, but he believes it's almost this person he's remembering from back in the day. And the way it just kind of flips conversationally from the first girl, oh, I just got to get high and then we can fuck or whatever, to now he's high and it's like disillusioned talking to the girl he's remembering from back in the day. And that transition is pretty fucking great for how little he actually says. And you're able to kind of get that out of him. And the chorus blasts back in, and then there's the outro with the running away, and that little gap in the middle. And the production on this song is just so fucking excellent. It just kicks in with this beautiful, almost punk energy that brings to the track, and the way he spits it and the raw emotion, and everything about this is fucking brilliant. It's one of my favorite songs of 2018. It's a 5 on 5.
I gave it a 4.2. You did a really great way summing up the entire track. It's very repetitive a little bit, but it's not bad. Like, it's not bad. It's a good thing because it's emphasizing his emotions of running away. It's emphasizing the intensity and the extremity that the pain inside of him takes him to. It's insane. I just for me it's just I don't know. It's not. I just don't think it's a 5. I just left it at a 4.2. I think it's good.
I just want to touch on the repetition. I normally don't like repetition, and I'll give you an example. Take like Amigos. In the kitchen, wrist twisted like a stir fry. In the kitchen, wrist twisted like a stir fry. In the kitchen, wrist twisted like a stir fry. Do you notice how like every time I deliver that line, it's exactly the same? Mm-hmm. That's what most people I feel do with repetition, and it's just kind of loops, and it's like whatever.
But with Peep, there's different octaves, different tones, like different feels, like,
and it's almost like
he never says this thing. He never says something the same way.
And because of that, when he loops, it's almost like there are no better words, so I'm gonna say it again, you know? And he adds that, as you said, that extra energy and shit. So I feel like it's cool, and there's subtleties to it, and it's just on this track, it's the kind of stuff that fundamentally I want to go out and scream this with like thousands of people in a crowd, you know? And I like that.
That
it is so sticky.
Vibe, that like.
And it's just so easy to do. Anyway, it's a gorgeous track. We could talk about it all day, but instead, we could have sex with my ex.
For me, all I know is that she'll hold me down.
I'm just going to keep talking because I fucking love this album. Sequencing. Let's talk about the track 1. So track 1, breakup part of the story. He's sitting there alone, etc. And it's cool because it continues off the last album, which, as we just broke it down in our last review.
Right.
And in track 2, he's now Runaway, and he's on tour, and he's smashing, and he's fucking around, and he's doing whatever, and he's trying to replace his feelings for this girl. Then we get to track 3, whereas the moments when he's, like, back in town, and he's now smashing this same girl, you know? And he's kind of, like, almost questioning why she puts up with it, why she's like still around, you know?
I got like a sense of loyalty though. I feel like
absolutely.
I feel like he's expressing how he's doing it because she's still down to ride with him.
And like that's what I mean, but it's almost like not questioning it in a negative sense, but like how the fuck is this my life? Like this, I don't deserve this type of shit, you know?
Right.
I took it more from that perspective.
But I feel there's a deeper bond. Like
absolutely,
the fact that she's your ex, it kind of takes away from that love typey relationship. Now it's more on like I feel like there's more of like a personal, deeper level that he's coming at it from.
Have you ever really done the fuck your ex thing?
I have.
But when you do the fuck your ex thing, in my experiences, and I would, if you're willing to share, you can say if it's comparable to yours, but. You kind of fuck like you're lying on your deathbed. That shit is like when you first started. It's some intensity, you know? I can feel the sudden emptiness because when you're done, you look at her or him and you're like, oh, shit. And all the other stuff just floods in. Like almost like a floodgate opens in your mind and it's like, and you're like, oh, shit, it's her. What the fuck?
It's like the adrenaline rush of wanting that comfort and that need for affection has all gone away after the deed is done.
Yeah, and then I'm here to grant your one last wish because, you know, maybe you can recapture that moment or whatever, and so we're here. But it's really just whatever, shallow, and then he then flips it. So fuck me like we're lying on our deathbed. So because it's the one last thing, it's almost like we know that this moment can end, and this could be, in a relationship sense, the last time ever. So we come at it like that. And then hear the sadness in your laughter. She's afraid of what comes after me, true love. Because they know it's done and then it's over, and that when he's gone out of her life, etc., what's going to come later on is the right person for her.
Right.
And I just feel like I've lived that a few times, what he's describing there, and he put it again super succinctly.
But I like how The difference I think between Peep so far and other music I listen to is the honest, raw simplicity that he does. Don't get me wrong, I enjoy the whole complex relationship. This is what we're doing, the internal battles and blah blah blah. But there's a different level of relatability and understandability, I would say, in when you simplify it the way Peep does. And just the pure raw emotion of carrying with the beat and how he flows and how he lets his heart and his emotions take over the song more than like strategically or mathematically or however you want to look at it. I think it's great. I thought the song was absolutely great. I gave it a 4 only because I didn't prefer this beat over the last one. I think the last one was better.
I mean, this whole song is definitely on the more rock side of the feel, I find. Even instrumental, it's built more in that spectrum. It's a lot singier, which is cool. I mean,
I like that he can sing.
No, but like, but I can see how stylistically Chris, who doesn't maybe like that side of it as much, but me, it's cool. I felt that it's cool to like feel it because of the type of song it is. It just came in right. Like, I don't know that more hip hop essentially would have made this a stronger song, but I still think the sentiment he's expressing with how he sings it is really relatable. And to touch on what you're saying, I think that the simplification of the idea to something that's so tangible, accurate, but done in a way where I'm certain most of you watching this can also agree that you can connect to this, because it isn't, as much as it's all about Peep and his own personal experiences, it's done in a way where it's also about you and your experiences, and that's brilliant poetry, in my opinion.
But that's if I understand correctly, that's what I was trying to say in terms of like,
yes,
yeah,
that is yes,
the simplicity. Yep.
I don't know when I'll be back in town. All I know is that she'll wait around for me. All I know is she'll hold me down. My girl keeps all 10 toes on the ground for me. I can feel it, etc. So in this little section, apparently 10 toes on the ground is like being grounded, like you're level-headed and shit. I didn't even know that till I read the Genius annotation that's that fine person put. So thank you, Genius annotator. But yeah, so he's kind of pointing out, and you gotta like, this is where he's like almost questioning it. Like, he's looking at this ex who's still down to ride and all this other shit and be there for him, even though he's out there on the road and doing whatever. And he, you know, it's interesting because it really adds some moral complexity. Like, he's self-aware. And that's, I think, interesting. He's not self-aware in this perspective where he makes it sound cool or anything. He just kind of sounds honest about where he's at and how he feels about it. Like you said, I like to catch a feeling now. I still feel your skin all over me, sex with my exes. So you can almost picture, like, he can't find what he's looking for in all these other people. So he's back in town and he's sitting there. Maybe he's trying to be good or something. And then he just pictures her riding him or some shit like that. Calls her up, and the next thing you know, she's on top of him. Yeah, I don't know. And then it just kind of flows. There is that repetition and structurally, whatever. It's a beautiful song, but I do like it less than the other ones. So I gave it a 4.5 because when I say that less than the other ones, I mean the other ones on this project, not the other music that came out this year. Because, yeah, this is a very strong song, and I would give this a very high grade and think that it's fantastic. For those of you that like the more rock stuff, this is more your jam. That's all I'm saying. Beautiful track. Love it. Would love to hear your thoughts on it. So are you ready to move on?
Move on.
Are you kissing on the styrofoam right now? Do you want to cry alone right now? Did you do a line of blow right now?
Right now. I did a line of blow right now.
So, like, after Lil Peep has sex with his ex-girlfriend, he's now alone, kissing on styrofoam, doing blow, crying alone, feeling sadness and sorrow inside of himself, and not wanting to feel that way. And then he probably goes into a super dark place.
Well, I also kind of took it as dealing with a lot of other problems as well in terms of, because then there's like a,
you know, there's basically two parts. There's the chorus, and then there's the I hate everybody in my hometown. I want to burn my whole high school into the ground. I hate everybody in my hometown. Tell all the rich kids to look at me down. Or when I go back to my hometown, I feel like everybody hate me in my hometown. I hate everybody in my hometown. Tell rich kids to look at me now. Those are like all the lyrics, which is totally fine by me. I fucking love this song. But from like the part of like the story and how it like builds in, so I can picture him now like leaving the girl's house, he's back home or whatever, he's later on, and he's so fucked up emotionally over the whole situation
and fucked up on chemicals
because he's leaned out and he's coked out, and so he's in this really weird emotional state, and he thinks back to like where he comes from and how he got this way. And you know, we already saw in Runaway that he has a lot of trouble with the fake bullshits, and the way people treated him in high school and stuff was most definitely not nice from what his mom has described, and you know, the overall sense that he wasn't very accepted and saw a lot of fakeness. And I feel like,
I mean, he's always given off this outcaster type vibe though as well.
Right. So I feel like at this point in his self-pity, he finds this inner rage and lays down this most punk, beautiful experience for me here, because it's not about trying to be like super lyrical. It's about raging the fuck out, right? So you can hear like the fucking chewing on ice and shit like in the beat. Like he literally was like, you know, sipping on that lean. I want to cry alone right now. Sipping on stuff. You know, like you hear it, like all being just like lit
the
up.
authentic Daisy feel that he gives off, like it really, that's part of what we were saying earlier in terms of we can really believe what Peep is saying. It's like,
even if he can fake being leaned out per se, the way he can be so like faded off of it, but be so clear and powerfully driven with it. Sorry to cut you off. I'm just still excited.
No, it's totally fine.
And then he just rages into that, like, I hate everybody. They hated me. Just blast it out. Like, it's just, I felt that so many times in my life. I was not cool in high school. I was very much bullied and shit in high school and not really loved. So hearing stuff like that brings me back to another place. And I could see how if I was like 15 right now, Lil Peep would literally be, in my opinion, the greatest thing of all time in music. Already, I think he's one of the greatest things I've heard. I mean, I don't know. I really like it. I gave this track a 5. It is awesome. The way that beat, like, kind of feel to it, that, like, fast pace, whatever, but still coming off, like, a fun, intense hip-hop sound to it at the same time. Like, I don't know how Smokesack does it, but this is really tied for like up there in one of my favorite songs on this project. I mean, I don't really do Lean or Blow, but still I feel like you just replace it with whatever you do and it's exactly the same kind of thing. So 5 on 5, I fucking love it. Great.
I gave it a 4 on 5. I enjoy the track. I like the creativeness behind it. I like how Peep is flowing with the production and he's giving off this authenticity of being fucked up, and it's not this like, it's not a story about it. It's like you're living the story with him. It's like you're kind of sitting there beside him as he's kind of just telling you how he wants to be alone and telling you how he wants to cry. And you know, you really get these vivid images and this type of imagery from the lyrics, and it's really great. Just, you know, I'm like a little bit. It is somewhat depressing. The theme.
It's gorgeous.
The narrative and the theme of the album, but it is a good project. But
he's so right that it's depressing, but it's not like aimless, bleak for the sake of it crap. It's
no,
like
I don't mean that.
Beautiful gothic romantic like tale.
It is,
and it's amazing. And I just think that Peep does it better than almost anyone I've ever heard in my life. Anyway, so yes, it is. I can understand how there are a lot of people out there like Bonnie does not like listening to sad music, so she's not the biggest fan of Peep sound. We've been going back and forth all week about how awesome or not Peep is. I think he's the greatest. Well, at this sound. Anyway, let's move on then. We can be leaning. I had a problem while reviewing this album.
What was that, Holden?
Sometimes you come across a song that you've never heard before that hits you powerfully. So you get to the end and you roll that back. Normally, I listen to like every song twice in a row when I do my review, when I sit down and do it, just to make sure.
Not mentioning the previous times you've listened to the album.
Yeah, like when I'm doing the review. But the next thing I knew, I was on my 4th time finishing the song. I was still pulling it back. And that was a lot of time I spent on this song because it's got some power to it that I think just struck me in a way. And I was like, it's so beautifully put together, this one, you know?
Well, what type of power do you talk about?
Well, like, Catch a feeling for me, catch a feeling for my lifestyles, popping pills for free, you know, pop that pussy for me right now. I'm skipping over the repeating. So you just get the sense that he's now faded out after, because in the last one he's all like mopey by himself and he doesn't want to be alone. So now you just picture him out and about and some girl is dancing and he's got all these pills and people are giving him drugs everywhere he goes, and you know, he's leaning back in his seat, and then you almost get the double sense of leaning in my seat, you know, thinking about my life. I wish I could see you now, bury me with all the lights out, which is something he did say on another track, so he's calling back to it.
A little Tracy.
Yeah, but you get like this sense that he's now in this morose state, thinking about his life, like the high school situations and stuff. The girls there's not even a distraction anymore. Everything's fucked up. He's on all these fucking drugs, and he's admitted in interviews in the past that he is overdosed with maybe some darker intentions attached to that in the past. So considering what ended up happening in November of last year, when he then goes with this, woke up surprised, am I really alive? I was trying to die last night, survived suicide last night. I was like, holy shit, dude. I've never heard anything that hit me so fucking hard in like anything since we've like done this channel, man. Like, I don't know, man. I've dealt with some shit in my life, and like, that is some real shit, man. I know people, I'm certain you know people, I'm certain you all know people where that makes that a very powerful sentence. And then coupling in with his personal history, it really adds a lot of power to hear words like that posthumously. And so, I don't know, man. That is definitely one of the strongest lyrics on this project, in my opinion, for what it is. But just the idea that you woke up surprised, like, fuck, I'm alive. Fuck, man. I can't say I have a lot of experience with that type of shit, but on an anecdotal front, on the day that Heath Ledger died, I had basically taken like 8 sleep aids that night in like whatever kind of attitude, and then Heath Ledger passed away, and I was like, oh shit, you know? So like, it's easy to get to a place in the darker side of your mind where your logic isn't necessarily there. So I like that people are so willing to be honest about stuff that people need to be more honest about, I think. Anyway, musically, it's kind of got this calmer feeling, and then it just blasts into that hook. It picks up intensity and like almost a more grandiose feeling. And like, it's kind of a good blend of like, I'd say 50-50 on that like rock versus hip hop blend in the beat once it like picks up, leaning more to the rock side at the beginning of it.
I like the trappy vibe to it. It's
gorgeous though. For me, I wasn't expecting to like love it. Like, I didn't know how much I would love this project right off the jump, but this one contends with the best on this, in my opinion. It's a 5. I really, really like this song.
I like what I interpreted from the song is that, you know, he's done crying. He's crying alone. He's kind of out doing his thing. Maybe he's on tour or whatnot, and he does meet this girl or group of people or whatnot. And I feel like instead of them giving him drugs or stuff like that, they're trying to use him. They want to be close to Peep because of their lifestyle. They want to be close to Peep because of what he can do, maybe the money, the drugs.
I didn't even think of that shit.
Like, it's I feel like he's acknowledging and he's questioning why people are trying to be in his life, like on a sense of, and then he adds in the other side of like, you know, I'm surprised I woke up this morning. I tried to kill myself. Like, that is also the other side of the song, but I liked how I like how Peep is very analytical, and is trying to make sure that he sees everything and he's questioning everything. And part of this is paranoia. Part of this is why he does drugs. Part of this is why he feels the way he feels, is because people are not real with him. People are fake with him, as we can connect it to another track on the album.
Well said.
Like, he never really knows what to actually do or what to actually say because of whatever state he's in. Granted, he's got his own issues, but it's hard. It's hard to wake up every morning and have to not know who to trust, not have anybody to be there and like actually genuinely want to be there. It's hard. I gave the song a 4. it's just not my sound per se.
That's fine. You don't have to like it. The truth is, I got 16 lines to drop, motherfucker.
Been on my own since age 9, 16.
This one's slower. A lot slower.
I feel like this one's about his coke addiction.
I
I understand that, like, 16 lines and then 16 lines as bars. Like, I totally get that. But I feel like this is Peep's way of expressing how he does blow to cope with whatever reality is happening. And I like the honesty behind it. I like the disconnect behind it. I like how he's so openly like, okay, well, life sucks. Just give me 16 lines and I'll be good. And I like that double wordplay in terms of also let me write down a poem of 16 lines and I'll feel better as well. And I guess that's what's interesting about Peep, because it's like you can interpret it two different ways, and it doesn't have to be a negative sense. It doesn't have to be a glorified drug thing.
But it's almost like because he did 16 lines of blow, he wrote 16 lines. So what's his motivation here, you know? He gets this causal and effect situation going on. Yeah. Anyway, go on.
Oh no, it's pretty much that. That's pretty much what the song I took from the song. I do question how the part where he's like, it's 10 years ago he went blind. I don't know if that's like a legit thing, or is that like maybe he went like blinded by love, blinded by addiction, or just like metaphorical.
I kind of took that like, you know, he's by the realities of life and pain and darkness and all of that shit. Maybe, I don't know. I never even thought about checking into his vision, but
right. So there's that. It was really heartbreaking to hear that, you know, he's been on his own since age 9. That is really young. And for him to feel like that, for him to feel so secluded, like you can feel it. You can feel the heavy weight, and I don't think it's. There's some songs on this album that are sad, but this one just feels very heavy weighted. Like he's, again, you get that scenario that he's kind of like sitting with you out of his mind, and he's talking and he's just venting, and you're kind of picking up everything just to kind of carry him with you, to give him some type of support. Like you feel heavy during this track, and I really think that, again, and sorry for being repetitive, but the beat and the way that they carry each other does put emphasis on that, does put emphasis on how I believe the audience, the listeners, or if they made a music video, I don't know if they did, but the viewers are interpreting their music, are taking and understanding how these artists and these creators are feeling. It's great. It's absolutely great. I left it with a 4.3. I really enjoyed. I think it was because it may have been softer and slower. I think it was like just a different pace, a different type of mood a little bit. I think that's what really got me for this one. So,
I mean, I agree with you on a lot of that stuff, especially the heaviness, the tone of this track, this moroseness feeling. I mean, I also feel like it ties into this person, this escape, you know? And because I like the idea of the double entendre at this part, where he's both talking about cocaine and this girl with break my bones but act as my spine. I wonder who you'll fuck when I die, and if I tried to call, would you cry? Please don't cry, you're wasting my time. Like, from a drug perspective, it's truly fascinating, right? Like, this blow is this girl, this relationship that it feels like it's calling to you, etc. You know, it's almost like he's fucking the blow. And he starts questioning, yo, so if I die, who's gonna take the rest of this pile? Almost, you know, like if he's one of his boys walks in and he's like overdosed or something, are they just gonna grab the pile and fucking, you know, leave him or something? Or maybe if he overdoses on a bus, he might sit there for 5 hours before somebody calls the police or something. Just saying. And yeah, it's just a really interestingly morose track that has him. And if you just consider that he's already been fucked up and thinking about his life and in his weird pace now, and it's like, so he's on all sorts of stuff that maybe leaned out and made him feel sad. So then if you look at it from that front, he's spaced out of his mind and he's feeling sad. So what does he do? Okay, focus up, get my shit back together, get ready to go again. I haven't done I've never done blow in my life, but I've talked to enough people who have told me all about how blow takes drunk ass version of you and makes you very sober again, ready to go drink some more. So I imagine it might have another effect on the slowier painkiller shit that he's on. Blow might bring you right back into the game. I don't know. I've never done that combination, but it seems logical. So I thought that was an interesting transition too on the album, the way the experiences were described and how it's almost like he's going to take a more proactive role now in dealing with this shit,
right,
rather than leaning back and escaping like that. Maybe, I don't know. It's an interesting idea. I gave this track a 4.5 because for a lot of the reasons you almost liked it, I almost feel like it was less enjoyable for me. But at the same time, this is one that grew on me the more I listened to it. The first time I was like, oh, I don't know if I really like this. But then I felt the emotions, and then I really got in the vibe. And then I started listening to it sequenced in the album, and I realized it really packs the same kind of punch and power, and it is a great break from especially maybe the pace of something like Runaway or, the other one that I really like there, Cry Alone. So it's a cool contrast to show off his style. And we're like 6 tracks in of this 12-track album, throwing it out there. Anyway.
It's 13.
We're going to talk. Are you done on this one?
Yeah.
All right, let's talk about how life is beautiful.
The usual, isn't life beautiful? I think that life is beautiful. You wanna see.
In 2015, and I believe the day is December 5th, what happened was Lil Peep put an EP called Feels, and can you please not have your phone on vibrate? Do you guys use vibrate? Like, my phone's on silent like 24/7. Moving on. So people put out this, yeah, literally 24/7. My phone is always on vibrate unless there's a delivery guy coming and my phone is charging in another room. Even if I'm waiting, I'll have it on somewhere I can see it ring. But no, my phone is on silent because who needs a ringer? If I'm gonna answer you when I go to my phone, I'm not gonna answer you when you need me. You know, unless I'm at work or something. It's like my fucking job. But, like, I feel like we should be a little more disconnected.
The whole
from our
point
phones.
of a cell phone is to respond if someone needs you.
Yeah, but, like...
And then you decide if the conversation's worth... Is this important? No? Okay, I'll call you back when I have more time.
If I ever got phone calls, maybe I would agree with you. Nobody calls me because we all text. We're in that text generation.
Yeah, fair.
Fun fact, because y'all are maybe younger watching this, so I'd be really curious to hear your thoughts, because I saw that younger folk use emojis a lot more and prefer video and voice. Do you guys, like, take little video chats and shit of each other? Or are you, like, old like me and you use text because you were taught that text is the way to communicate? Because I think it's truly fascinating. Like, would you want to contact customer support by Snapchat? Like, that's the kind of stuff I'm thinking about now.
Change the world of customer support.
That's what I'm thinking needs to happen. Anyway, so back on December 5th, 2015, he put out the Feels EP, and there's this song called Life, which can best be described as this exact lyric set put on a beat that is not quite as nice as this beat. So Smokesack has taken that and produced one of the more gorgeous beats on this album, let's be absolutely real, and taken this surreal song that Lil Peep has put out here and made it. I don't want to say that the first version is bad or anything, but I would say that listening to it on really good headphones, the level of mixing and quality of production is noticeably different, and this version is significantly more fun for me to listen to, even though Peep's performance on is basically the same. But I'm talking about the actual around Peep part.
Right.
What lyrics, eh? I know that it hurts sometimes, but it's beautiful. Working every day, now you're bleeding through your cuticles. Passing through a portal as you're sitting in your cubicle. Isn't life beautiful? I think that life is beautiful. I think you just described every working person ever.
My job flashed in front of my eyes.
Like, I mean, maybe I'm not literally bleeding through my cuticles because I work in front of a computer, but it is the essence of claiming you work hard and long and tirelessly, and you know, when you're in your cubicle and you go through that portal in your mind and maybe you're dreaming of better things.
Well, it's
and
not just portal in your mind. You have a login password, you have an access code for your own job. Like, it's even more. It's
and
even
passing
more.
Through a portal.
Yeah, a web portal, whatever it is. Like,
oh my gosh,
the accuracy to what he is describing and the double connections is super crazy.
Good. You just blew my mind.
Jeez.
And yeah, so that's, and then there's that ironic twist on that. Isn't life beautiful? I think that life is beautiful. Because there, oddly enough, kind of is a beauty in that, right? Like, you got to just consider it from one end of it. Let's be like super sincere on that beauty point. It's amazing that my problem is that I'm passing my password through a portal in a cubicle, as opposed to maybe literally having my cuticles bleeding, right? That is kind of beautiful, right? That work has changed from your cuticles bleeding to passing through a portal in a cubicle.
I mean, I guess that's a way to look at it. I didn't really think of that. That I'm going to say is a reach, but that's cool.
I don't know, because isn't life beautiful? I think that life is beautiful. I think he's trying to both imply that this is fucked up, but in a weird way, also kind of beautiful at the same time.
But, like, I feel like I'm going to throw a wrench in your theory, but people who work in construction might bleed from their cuticles.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, it's not really like life has really changed, is all I'm saying. I think the theory's cool. I think that it's awesome. I think that there's a lot to be taken from these lines right away.
I mean, I agree that it's not actually meant to be like a beautiful thing at like a first point.
Right.
And yes, there are definitely certain physical occupations but you might bleed through your cuticles literally. But as technology and shit changes, it's less and less of that and more of passing through a portal in your cubicle.
Mm-hmm.
At least that hit me. I passed through a portal in my cubicle.
Yep.
I literally have a cubicle. I'm certain if you go on my Instagram, you'll see pictures of my cubicle somewhere. And, like, that's it. I passed through my portal.
I have my own desk.
Anyway, I like it, though. I like the fact that we can even have this conversation off of, the first 4 lines of this song. But then he goes, like, kind of next level with it, trying to keep it cool at your grandfather's funeral, finding out eventually the feeling wasn't mutual. You were not invited because there's nothing like the usual because you're nothing like the usual isn't like beautiful. I think that life is beautiful. Now this is where it gets a little bit darker because as we know, he's been rejected and outcasted over things like tattoos and stuff to a point where evidently they didn't want him at his own grandfather's funeral.
I don't think it's that.
No?
I think it could be. Or
maybe the grandfather didn't like him.
I think it's 2 different things. I think he's saying, trying to keep it cool at your grandfather's funeral, finding out the feeling isn't mutual, meaning the grandfather never gave a fuck about him, and he's still there at the funeral. And then I guess I could see where you're connecting the next line, but I think the next line is literally just saying you were never invited to other places because you're unusual. Like, it's just a line by itself. Like, he just never was invited anywhere. I don't think it's directly towards the grandfather thing.
I think people like double entendres. Maybe it's both.
It could be. I'm just giving my...
That's cool that Peep can do that.
My thing.
And then again, isn't that beautiful? Because on the one hand, no, it's not. It's fucking awful and horrible. But on the other hand, it's kind of beautiful that you find out how fake everyone is and can deal with that situation. And understanding the truth of a situation has a certain level of beauty to it, you know?
Just to follow up, they kill your little brother.
Well, hold on. You got to do the doctor's line first.
Oh, yeah, my bad.
Because, the doctor walks in and he tells you it's terminal tumor in your brain and they're saying it's inoperable. Isn't life beautiful? I think that life is beautiful. Damn, it's getting even darker still at that point, right? Because, that happens. My grandmother passed away over a neurodegenerative disorder. It's not quite the same thing as a tumor, but at the same time, yeah, it's dark as fuck, but she was Christian and wanted to go to heaven, so there's some beauty in that shit, I guess.
Isn't life beautiful?
I guess that life is beautiful. See? I said I guess. I don't know. Thinking it's beautiful is a different thing, but I like the fact that another way to look at these lyrics is, in light of all these awful things, he still tries to find the beauty in life. I still, isn't life beautiful?
But isn't that a little,
I think that life is beautiful.
Isn't that, a little twisted in a sense?
I don't know if it is.
Not in not in a bad way. I'm just saying, the idea of all this negative shit happening, you're, tumor, you're dying, there's other stuff going on, the pain and the anxiety, and then that little bit of hope that he remains, that he keeps for himself to find the beauty in life. That's just twisted a little bit.
I think it's a matter of recognizing the awfulness in life and then still choosing to look for the beauty in life. It's a matter of coping to still see that there is, but it's an interesting idea. And then, there's your police lines. They'll kill your little brother and they'll tell you he's a criminal. They'll fucking kill you too, so you better not get physical. Welcome to America. The type of shit is typical. Isn't life beautiful? I think his life is beautiful. And if he wrote this in 2015, it's a little more turbulent something. I don't know. 2018's not. It's still turbulent, but less media presence of the turbulence. I don't know. It's an interesting line. Again, it is exactly what it is, the police brutality. If, they'll kill your brother, they'll tell you he's a fucking criminal, and if you get violent, well, fuck you, you're going to die too, so be complacent, motherfucker. Yeah, and just welcome to America. The type of shit is typical. I'm with you, bro. It's fucked up, and it's not very beautiful at all, really. But you still got to kind of look for the beauty, I guess. I don't know. And then the next verse, I guess, I don't really know. It's just kind of like one long verse in my mind.
Well, there's 3 verses.
3 verses according to Genius, not 3 verses according to the song. He just changes from stop saying beautiful at this point.
Right.
And then wake up in the morning, now you're doing the impossible, etc.
I like that, though. I like how he's... The idea of waking up in the morning and having to do your 9 to 5, your routine, your day, seems so impossible to him. It's like,
or on the other hand,
this might be a little selfish, but I feel like I kind of feel a little bit proud for myself hearing that. Like, I'm able to do.
I kind of like also took it more like it's more personal to him. You know, he wakes up in the morning, or you one day wake up and you're doing the impossible. You find out what's important, and now you're feeling philosophical. So you try to get some knowledge in your brain, you know? Mm-hmm. And then it kind of like you end up at a conclusion. When I die, I'll pack my bags, move somewhere more affordable. Isn't life horrible? I think that life is horrible.
That was cool.
So what I thought from that, it's like saying that, yo, when I die, my music's going to pop. And then everyone's going to care, and that's when all the money and shit's going to come. And I'm not going to lie, I didn't really pay attention to him until after he passed, so I guess I'm kind of guilty of what a lot of other people are too, of just jumping on the bandwagon right after, you know?
Yeah.
And that is horrible. That's not very beautiful at all, because it's a shame that I guess we didn't give him the attention or love that he deserved when he was still there. So that's sad.
Facts.
And pretty horrible. I don't know. And then some girl he wants, which is fine. Isn't life comical? Thinks life's comical. That's cool. It's just kind of plays into the theme. And then at the end, it kind of transitions into, I guess, this little bridge thing. And if you,
I like how he, because there's a bridge, and then there's the 3rd verse, and I like how he kind of.
To me, the bridge is what Genius calls verse 3, because, I mean, I don't know. It's kind of hard with Peep to know what's a verse and a chorus. Like.
Right.
It says verse 3 because somebody put that in the annotations, and if I propose a change, he has to accept that. So that guy decided it's verse 3. I don't know what the official lyrics say. I'm just saying that I would say that there's one long verse and then this bridge at the end. And then the outro of Isn't Life Beautiful repeating.
Right.
And then, and if you ever need a friend, then you got me. And in the end, when I die, would you watch me? And if I try suicide, would you stop me? Would you help me get a grip, or would you drop me? Run away, make friends with the moon while you're tripping. You'll be with your friends soon. There comes a time when everybody meets the same fate. I think I'm gonna die alone inside my room. That's fucking powerful. Because, like, you have him kind of reflecting on all of these other concepts and shit, and then throwing himself out there sincerely, like, he'll be there for you, etc., and wondering at the end of the day, and if he goes so far in his mind that he can't handle it, that he wants to kill himself, etc., are you going to hold him down? Are you going to be there for him, etc.? And it's almost like at the end of the day, who cares? Because we're all going to die and meet up in the afterlife, and this kind of bleak, melancholy twist on everything. Because isn't life beautiful? I think that life is beautiful. And I don't know, man, this song came out like right before the album dropped too, I believe. 5 on 5 for me. I really like it. I think it's another one. I wish I could have listened to it more, but I had the rest of the album to listen to, so I haven't yet been able to properly obsess over this track. And I mean, there's still other ones to obsess over, and damn, this is some powerful shit, man. Lil Peep got me so many places in the feels. Is ridiculous, man. Anyway.
I left it with a 4.7. I really enjoy the inspiration he's trying to put into this track. I really enjoy the energy he's putting into this track. I really enjoy the positive message through all the darkness and the negativity that he's putting into this. It is great.
That's fair. Anyway, why don't we move on to the next track then? If you've got no more commentary, Chris, well, then I guess I'm talking a lot and they may hate me.
See, hey, girl, I know.
All right, Chris, how do you feel about this next track?
This wasn't one of the songs I had something to say.
This is referencing something he was saying off camera. Anyway, go on. How do you feel about this, though?
I like it. I mean, I like how in our first one, I kind of got this sense of like mystery, kind of like he's disconnected, kind of wants to bring this woman places, doesn't want to hurt her or break her. Although he wants to do nice things to her, but he keeps blaming her somewhere in the track. I don't know. I didn't really feel this one lyrically as much as I did more the instrumental. I enjoy more the music to this one.
You like those snaps?
I did like the snaps. That was an enjoyable thing for me. Personally, the vocals felt I felt a little bit drowned, somewhat. Not auto-tune or anything like that, just a little bit. I think the music was more heavier than that. I honestly don't have much to say about this one, but I do enjoy the feeling that you get. It was more positive. There was this, even though I kind of got the sense that even though he's talking about people hating him, he's saying it in like a happy, positive way. Like, I don't give a fuck if you hate me. I really don't care.
I think that the next one is I don't give a fuck. Anyway, I'm kidding.
Right.
I'm kidding.
But I did leave with this one with a 4 as well. I do like the sound and the production, and his voice isn't bad on this. I just, lyrically, I couldn't really get into the lyrics. I couldn't really get it.
Okay. I like how it kind of starts off with like this little phone call, and it just kind of like then snaps into the song. And I believe he's talking about the same girl that's been like the focal point of a lot of his album. And he's kind of questioning some shit. Like, he's on the road, and we kind of snapped into like, his pity party's over, and now he's back out there doing his thing.
Right.
And he wants to take the girl with him, but he like can't for whatever reason. And so instead, while he's out there and he's doing whatever he's doing, he's kind of like hoping that back home he doesn't actually end up breaking her, And then like he's kind of has that line, I'm on my own, I'll be sipping Patron, and I'll be trying to blame you, yeah. So it's kind of like he knows that he's sitting there getting fucked up and all this other shit. At the end of the day, he's going, oh, but it's your fucking fault, But really, it's just because that's how he's dealing with it. But he's kind of whatever.
Self-acknowledgement. I like how he knows that he's getting petty or like...
Yeah. And he's
feeling certain things.
And I think it's honest, and he's putting it on. And then the girl's calling him crazy, and then he's kind of pointing out, I know that when you say you hate me, you don't really hate me. So you can just picture, like, he's, like, confessing how he fucked, like, 4 girls last night, and she's like, I fucking hate you. Why you gotta put me like that, blah, blah, blah. And he's like, yeah, but I know you don't really hate me when you say that shit.
Right.
Like, it's an interesting kind of, like, twist on that. And then I would give it all back for you right now. I can never forget you. Run away from me, try to run away, but I ain't gonna let you. I could hear my heartbeat sounding like the bass drop. I said, baby, don't stop with the fucking and the makeups now. I'm gonna take the long way home. Got a couple hundred missed calls on my phone. All right, we have 2 things happening there. On the one hand, we have like, he's like trying to get her back, and he's trying to like, deal with her, etc. But at the end of the day, it seems like their interactions are just basically like, let's fucking make up. Like, there's no real things being dealt with. There's no problems. It's just escapist crap. So in a sense, then he leaves, and he's like walking home the long, slow way. His phone's on silent in his pocket. When he gets home, hundreds of missed calls. A bit of exaggeration, but sense that she's spamming him now, and he's made her feel a certain way.
But is it just him, or is it just 100 missed calls in general? Like, I
feel like it's like he's left his girl after maybe having a little fight, and he's walking home, and this girl's just chain calling him like, why the fuck are you not answering the phone? 87
I mean, I also get that as well, but I felt like there was a sense of maybe he's kind of like dead inside and like empty, and he's kind of just like, he's dealing with everything. Like, she's calling him, other people are calling him, and he's just like looking at his phone like, I got messages, I don't care.
I don't know. I mean, because then when you look at that third verse, though, I feel like it's a little bit more he's defending his point of view. He's like, when you tell me that you love me, I put trust that you don't judge me. I'm just going through some shit right now, and I don't want to let you down. Mm-hmm. Now I just want to leave this town. Sometimes I feel like everyone hates me. So in a sense, it's like he's dating this girl or whatever, and he wants to leave and whatever, and he's going out and he's acting when he comes home. They have this dynamic that they have, and he's saying, well, I know that if you're going to be having me here and saying that you love me and that you want me around, it's with this understanding that this is where I'm at with life and this is what I'm dealing with, and you need to kind of almost accept that shit, right? Like, you can't just be like, I love you, and then be like, shit's not cool and judge me. It's kind of the sense of what I'm getting from him here. And he's like, look, I got to get out. And she obviously can't come is something we've understood from the beginning of the song. And it's almost like referencing back to the earlier feelings. Everyone hates me in my hometown, you know? So I really think it's got this beautiful melancholy feel to it. I'd say it's on that like 4.5 range for me. I don't like it as much as the ones I fucking love, but I think it's really hard to follow up Life is Beautiful, because that song's gorgeous, even if it is a remix of an older song. This one, I don't know if it's a remix of an older song or where it fits in, if it's brand new, whatever. I still think it's freaking fun to listen to. Yeah, I don't know. Do you have anything more on this one?
No.
Well, I don't give a fuck.
Clearly.
I mean, I feel like this one just kind of like follows suit a little bit. He's a little bit more questioning that kind of dynamic. She calls him, doesn't pick it up. He's never home. He's been fucking up. He's out on the road. He's doing whatever. He's living life. He doesn't give a fuck about anything. He's just kind of being impulsive and shit. And then you got in the verse this sense like, ride till the wheels fall off and my heart stop. I can't feel my face, but I won't stop. Can't stop, girl. You know I can't stop, won't stop, etc. So he's kind of pointing out that like he's doing these drugs. He's being very honest. He's out there and he's fucking up. He's cheating, I would imagine. He's just living day to day, partying, going
living
through
his best life.
And then whatever. He kind of flows into like that bridge though. He's just still saying to her like, fuck me when the beat drops, baby. Fuck me till my heart stops. Fuck me when the beat drops, bleeding on my laptop. So it's like he's just pouring his heart and soul.
I like that.
Like into this music that's just like pouring out is what I took from that.
I got that
and
same
like
feeling.
through that same sentiment while the music's happening and he's pouring his soul out and he's opening up like that, you know, fuck him. In the literal sense. He wants to like almost die in your embrace. It's some twisted darkness to it that's beautiful in a sense, you know.
Well, it's that search for affection. It's that search for wanting to feel whole again.
And just like that, also like that rush, that constant going. I feel like he's trying to not feel in a sense, and that's what's going on. And so it's maybe like these people that he's fucking, it's not like it's personal or anything. It just is there, and he just doesn't want, he wants to escape. And you know, you just get that overall sense of he doesn't give a fuck. He doesn't know how to care right now, which is just probably exactly what he was going through. And I don't know, I feel like it's just as powerful, and in the same vein as a lot of the other ones. I like the way the music layers on this and how it builds up. I feel like it's a really well constructed one, and I give it a 4.75.
I really enjoyed his he's consistent with this disconnecting feeling when he gets into like the I don't give a fuck type modes. What I've noticed so far on the album is that he's got his certain type of vibes. Like there's the ones where he's really into the you know, the emotions and the pain and the feeling, and then there's the ones where he's like, no, I'm not like, not that he's not into it, but it's like you can tell he's like super numb. And that's what I really got from this song. That he's numb, that he's expressing what he's got to express. The bleeding out my laptop, bleed leaking out my laptop. When he says that was really cool. Like, just the rawness of knowing that he's putting everything into his music is just super passionate. You can feel it. You can feel that artistic passion that's coming off of it. It's great. I left it with a 4.
All right, let's talk about white girls, which might not be white Caucasian ladies. Yo, on the real though, this may actually be the absolute best hook on this album. I don't know, there's something about that. White girl on me, I got cocaine. And the way the melody comes in and the harmonies under them, it's pretty strong, man. On like that whole reference of his love affair with cocaine that's going on in terms of that chorus, because white girl on me, I got cocaine, a little bit blunt, do it in the bathroom. So he's in the bathroom doing blow. I can feel it, my bone breaks. Same click with me at the night show. I was in the back then, now I got a light show. It kind of repeats it, but it could also obviously be about sex. So it's another.
I think this is more, and I think I made a mistake on an earlier track, but I think this one's more about his cocaine addiction.
This one is absolutely about his cocaine addiction.
Like, I also as well did think about, like, maybe the women or whatnot. I kind of got a feeling, like, at one point through one of the times I was playing the track back, it sounded like he was kind of going on this whole, like, with, like, white girls only like me because I have white girl. Like, white girls only like me because I have cocaine.
But, I mean, I kind of feel like it's kind of layered to come off like that a little bit might even be true in a sense, but I definitely feel like it's white girl on me. I got cocaine. Do it in the bathroom.
Yeah. It's about like him doing it.
And then when you like think about even like the verses and shit, like she don't love me, she just love how I feel. I'm a fuck her till I know she real. I don't love her, but I know she feel when I fuck her and she make me a meal. Now I don't know if that is a relationship directly with the drugs or the result of the drugs, but it almost could be either. And it just kind of twists into the narrative further, you know. Told her, baby, I'm the type to get faded, and I know that she liked that I'm famous. Now, to me, that just sounds like cocaine, you know. Like, cocaine will love that you're famous because it means you got money and you're going to be around all the time. I ain't trying to make this shit complicated. We only came because we both get naked, which also has that double entendre feel, that rawness that probably comes from doing drugs and being like that and being straight to the point. But simultaneously, it could be about, you know, a girl trying to come because of the cocaine and sex and shit that's going to be happening and whatnot. And I really love the way that he puts that twist on it. I love that fucking hook. It's pretty strong. And, you know, it just kind of flows. And that clique he's referencing, I believe, is the Goth Boy clique, who, if I'm not mistaken, at the time of his death, he was no longer in the Goth Boy clique, and he was no longer in that crew. I don't know if that's true. You Lil Peep fans out there can let me know. You GBC fans can also let me know if you're watching. I gave the song a 5 on 5. It is right up there with every other one that hit me in the feels and shit. And you just kind of feel it with him, and you feel his struggle. And you know what? Maybe you don't do cocaine. Maybe it's like, Fortnite got me, and I'm playing all these video games, and I can't escape, and I'm a lazy sloth. Like, it could be that, and it, like, fits in my mind. You just made those parallels.
I just see the comments blowing up with Fortnite people.
It was a parallel. There are some people who take it...
They're coming at you now.
Some people take it too far. Other people are responsible users. Those of you who... To quote the great Pusha T, if you know, you know. Anyway, 5 on 5 for me.
4 on 5 for me. I enjoy the creative story about his addiction with cocaine and how he's battling it and how he kind of goes with it. It was just, man, it didn't hit me as raw as the other songs have. So
it hit me as raw as the other songs have.
Give it a 4.
Yeah,
appreciate
that 5 is nicer than your 4.
It
okay,
is.
The truth is, I got fingers. This is so uplifting as far as like Lil Peep goes. This is about as uplifting. Like the chord progression is dun, 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 dun. Like it's more of almost a pop punk chord progression for its overall feel.
Yeah.
Which is, I'm gonna make it clear. This is where I believe the album should be ending, right? You've had this depressing story of coming to deal with your emotions over this girl, and you put it all out there, and then you have like this beautiful, interesting song where it's like everyone hates me, but nobody knows me. Where did the time go? Could somebody show me? So it's almost like we've snapped back into almost like a present, and he's kind of out there again, and he's maybe living a little bit more, getting a ride slow. You know where I'm going. Back at the club, go. Your feelings are showing, and maybe it's almost like I'm imagining he's with the same girl, and like they're kind of just being real with each other for a minute. How can I not stare the way that you're glowing? I am a nightmare, and you don't want to know me. Or maybe it's some new girl at the same time, and he's being like super blunt, like I'm Lil Peep. You listen to my music, you know what the fuck you're getting into, and you know, running my fingers through your hair makes me remember everything. Why don't you hate me? And it's kind of like I feel like it's maybe transitioning between all the types of girls in his life, you know, like because there's gonna be like, why don't these long-term partners of him hate him? You should, based on how most people end up when you bang around like that, or these random girls that are willing to be in those moments. I can only imagine where it's like if you listen to the album and you know he's going to disregard you, but you show up to be disregarded anyway. It's like, why don't you hate him? Anyway, now
well, there's a certain part of Lil Peep that I guess I understand why people surround themselves with him, excluding the fame and the thing. I think it's the more the honesty, the purity. Even though in his broken, fucked up states or whatever, he's still pretty pure. Like that's the one thing I held throughout this entire album is that he's not lying, he's not fake, he's not trying to make a song just to make a song. He's expressing certain empty feelings, empty emotions, empty, like just in a cliche way to say it, if he felt butterflies, we would know. He would say that.
Yeah.
You know, and it's that simple, and I think it's that type of comforting simplicity that people run to him, whether it's guy, girl, whatever.
And then, like, I don't know, on the hook, I'll be the first there and I'll be the last there. You get this sense of dedication out of him, that he's willing to be, in that moment where you have him, he's going to be there, you know?
Mm-hmm.
But I'm not going to last here and I'm not going to last long. So in a sense, maybe it's almost literally in this town, in this moment, or maybe in this life, or however he's putting it. And then I'll be right here. I'll buy you a flight here. I'll give you a night here. We got to move on. And then it's almost like, yeah, well, maybe I'll fly you out from wherever. We'll bang for the night and move on. And it's like, again, on this sense where we understand he's running away and he's on this journey of like kind of maybe being on the road a lot with music and things. And it's like he's just kind of putting out his life on the table again and being super honest with it. And I think this is a beautiful ending to the album, in my opinion. I mean, the original track list I saw had this ending here. I gave this a 5. It really hits me in the cheesies. Like, it sounds like a good 2000s feel to me.
Mm-hmm.
But it also, from like a conceptual point, is an interesting and almost like, it's almost like Peep has come to terms with who he is and
Right.
where his life's at. And it's the first essence of that we like feel on this project, or maybe he's met a person who's like loyal, or they finally come to like be like tight or something, but
Right.
we really get that like feeling, and I really feel like there's almost closure here that we don't get anywhere else on this album, and I thought that was beautiful, etc. So I gave it a 5. Do you have further thoughts or ideas?
I gave it a 4.2. It's just it's the vibe, it's the feeling of it. I'm not saying I don't like these songs. I'm not saying that they're not great songs. Like I said, I've been explaining why. It's just at a certain point, I think that I just personally kind of lose interest in a specific vibe. So, but I still gave it a 4.2. Like, it's a fucking good song.
All right, cool. So while I do think the album should be over at this point, instead, we're going to do a little twofer here. We're going to talk about Falling Down / Sunlight on My Skin. All right, so I have looked into this a little bit. Adam22 talked about it, and a couple other people talked about it. And then I watched an Instagram video from Fat Nick. I didn't know there was a Fat Nick, but now I do know there's a Fat Nick. So I watched him talk about it. I saw internet threads, and I don't know if I'm right. I'm going to present to you how I understand shit went down with this. So the original song's with iLoveMakonnen. And as I understand it, him and Lil Peep may have been dating at the end of this situation. I don't actually know, but the fan base is certainly convinced that there's certain segments of the fan base that are convinced of this. And so it's almost like you have this little love song with Peep and Makonnen and kind of going back and forth, which they're dating and stuff, and they're really like that, and they're putting like hearts under each other's pictures and things, and it was cute. And so the song's kind of there. But then Smoke Sack kind of also pushes the song with XXXTENTACION, which comes out. I remember when this dropped, I listened to it. I was like, that's because it came out like not that long after he died, right? And I was like, whoa, that's an interesting mix, like these two dudes, etc. So as I understand what happened is the song was sitting there with the Peep chorus on it and the open verses. And X had heard it and wanted to jump on it. Now, apparently, prior to Peep's passing, X had reached out to Peep, and they had done the preliminary work on maybe having a collaboration happen. And then the little sound clip you hear near the end of Falling Down is a little phone interview that Smoke Sack has from XXXTENTACION, describing his feelings towards Peep, how he would have liked to have seen him when he was alive, etc., right? And whatever. So that happened, and then the label kind of made it happen. Smoke Sack and Makonnen were apparently 100% okay with this collaboration going down, but the goth boy clique and that fan base was like, nah, Peep hated X, it was a bad thing, he never would have been okay with this, etc., and was all sorts of like unhappiness within the community that this collaboration came out. But then there was also a lot of support that it came out, which is fine. But here we are at the end of this album with basically 2 versions of this song, the iLoveMakonnen version and the one with XXXTENTACION. And all that really changes is their verses. And otherwise, it's kind of the same song. So I feel like the album has this like amazing flow to it. And in my opinion, ends flawlessly. And then we have this label move is what it feels like.
Right.
Where we took these 2 big songs that caused some controversy and buzz and we stuck them both on the album because what? You're going to get extra stream lengths on it or whatever? Like, I don't know. But pick one or the other, I would have been almost okay with, and I would have moved it earlier in the album, personally. But maybe for the sake of the story, it does fit at the end because he's met this person, and now when they're going away, it's just sadness and he misses them and whatever, which is fine. But on like the XXXTENTACION version of it, right? So you have the chorus, which stays the same between the 2 of them. Come, let's watch the rain as it's falling down. And then you hear X go, no, let's do this song for Peep. I hate that part. Really, I don't like it. I get it. I don't like it. To me, I would rather not have it there. Otherwise, the chorus is fine. Sunlight on your skin when I'm not around. Shit don't feel the same when you're out of town. So come, let's watch the rain as it's falling down. And you just get the sense that like they're together on this moment where they have and it's raining and they're in this little romantic vibe and they're considering how awful it is when they're apart. But let's take this nice moment we have together and like watch the rain and shit. It's beautiful. It's got this niceness to it, right?
Right.
Sorry about that. I've been getting over sickness for the last couple of weeks. And then XXXTENTACION's fine. Rain keeps falling, tears keep falling. Darling, your love is like walking on a bed of nails, and I can't just keep on fine. I don't know. In X's version of the song, it's almost like painful darkness, contortion. It's like it takes like this negative connotation, right? Which doesn't really fit the album. And then that little bridge, it just doesn't fit the album, right?
I mean, I think it's also the fact of in this speech on Falling Down, XXX says that they're kind of alike,
which is
so I feel like
how does that make sense on this album?
Well, they're both past. They're both gone. So they're both emotional.
So you guys hear the money, the dollar signs? You guys hear it coming in?
I'm not trying to talk. I hope nobody out there is hearing me speak like this and act like and feel like I'm degrading them. No, I'm not. I'm just saying like XXX was an emotional rapper. Peep's an emotional rapper.
Look, I'm not saying
they're
that
dedicating the song to him. Like, he made this whole thing. Like I get it's a label.
The thing is this song has been out for months, man. Like it's been out for ages.
Well, also just to be fair, on Spotify, this is considered the bonus. So is this just because they have the 2 songs?
Is this the bonus?
Yeah, look on Spotify. Look on your thing.
Okay. If that's the case, then I guess my little tirade is a little bit like, whoops, maybe I'm a little bit wrong. Okay. Okay, if that's the bonus version of the album and that's the situation, I apologize a little bit for my attitude, but still, when you hear that, most of us are going to be hearing the album on a streaming service, at least for the first time. It still feels a little bit weird, you know, to have that version even be part of the project, because alternatively, if we look at the iLoveMakonnen version of this song,
right,
his is beautiful, like Where I Want to Be Again and Again, Alone, You and Me, just skin to skin. Like that really changes the entire tone of the song from something dark and depressing that like maybe fit the early part of the tone of this album into something that maybe could even be a continuation to the story, right? Like time has passed and he's found this thing, and on the low they're like dating, so it's almost like this cute ass love song between these two to each other and shit.
Think of it this way, like what if Falling Down is you're right, like the emotional part, and it's like all negativity and blah blah blah, and then Sunlight on Your Skin is now that Peep's gone, this is what was made after. And now, like, iLoveMakonnen is, like, expressing what he feels after Peep's gone.
Which is all fine. But, like, when I'm thinking about the plot of this album, the XXXTENTACION track, which, call it a bonus if you will, putting these 2 songs back to back was a choice. Mm-hmm. Put the extra one on or whatever. Fine. This was, the bonus is obviously about cash grabs. Fine. But I feel like it just breaks the flow a little bit of what otherwise would have been a beautifully seamless experience. And the one with iLoveMakonnen sounds like a really happy ending almost to this tale. Like at the end of the day, there's this person that cares so much. Like he's almost like taking on the role of somebody that like responds to it or whatever. It's really nice. I know you want me and you know I feel the same. Don't want to leave you by your side. Together here I stay. Let's change the weather. You and I don't ever have to die. We'll be together, babe. Our love is the real thing. Like it's just kind of like a nice ending to it. Like something cool that I felt like was nicer. As a result, from a grading perspective, I gave Falling Down a 4.5. Because don't get me wrong, it's a fucking cool song in and of itself. It's just when I heard that like Makonnen harmonies on the last chorus in Somewhat on Your Skin, I realized how much I didn't like what XXXTENTACION was doing with it. So it's a 4.5 because in and of itself, it's a cool song. Peep's part's good. The beat's still good and all that part's good. But iLoveMakonnen just raises it right up to a 5. He complements that song beautifully. And I just really, really like it.
I gave Falling Down a 4.3 and I gave Sunlight on Your Skin a 4.5.
That's fair. Sunlight on Your Skin is beautiful as fuck. And knowing that these two dudes, you know, like it just kind of adds to it. It makes me like it even more. I'm not even going to lie.
It adds to the story. And, you know, it also kind of maybe adds to the confusion too. Like the pain. Maybe Peep was going through like figuring out what he was into, what he liked.
Well, he had just come out as bisexual not long before he passed. And iLoveMakonnen was openly gay. And I don't know that they were together. The internet led me to believe this was a thing. Either way, I think it's a beautiful end to this project. And if we want to talk about the project, which I guess does then end at Fingers, I would say I gave this album a 4.75. It is ridiculously good. The bonus parts, whatever, I'm not going to count them because they're bonus, but ending on Fingers, damn, that's an amazing fucking experience, man. This is very much a big contender for my favorite album I heard all year. I think the combination of Smokesack and Lil Peep is something that it's better than peanut butter and jelly. The emotion that he packs into every line, the brevity employed, the use of repetition and subtle twists to really communicate a point and almost create this faded feeling where it's almost like you can just be in his mind. It's just a gorgeous project where I think it does, first of all, does justice to part one. Listening to them back to back, it's just perfect. It's now like my 7-song experience is now like a 20-song experience. That's what changed. And I will be bumping part 2 to Bonnie's dismay as much as part 1.
Well, my question to you now is like, do you think this is like, would you listen to this as a whole album, like part 1, part 2?
Absolutely. Yeah. It's almost like, because I mean, here's what happens. I went ahead and I played Ben's Truck. And then the next thing I know, the album's over. And I don't know how to hit pause. It's like my finger doesn't work because once Ben's Truck starts, like, you're really going to stop? You just started Peep, man. It's like you need a good hour of Peep. Like, that's what I'm trying to say. I'm not even going to lie. I'm going to make Chris review Hellboy and those other ones I promised people in the last review we never got around to. So we'll definitely get on his other tapes. And if you guys want to see that in the comments, let us know. If enough of you comment, it'll happen quicker. If not, it'll happen later on. Either way, I'm going to do them because I'm fucking obsessed with Lil Peep at this point. So yeah, I love this project. One of the best this year.
I gave the project a 4.3. I enjoyed it. I think that it does compete with Come Over When You're Sober Part 1. It does do justice. It makes it a really great story, a full album actually. I mean, and albums nowadays have been 15 to 20 songs. So
well,
like,
sure, go on.
You can't. Well, I mean, you can listen to both and not feel like you're listening to 2 tapes. It's smooth. It's great. It kind of left me with this like, fuck, he's actually gone. Like once the album was over, I was kind of just like.
That's how I felt the last time, but now it's like this extra feeling of it.
Yeah, like what we said earlier, the finality of the sequel, the finality of this series is over, and it's like,
I wish there's little Tracy.
Anyway, the album's great. Everybody should take a moment to listen to this album and experience the raw feeling emotions that Peep is trying to express and get out and have people kind of relay with it. So just take it for what it is.
Yeah, so thank y'all for watching. I hope y'all like Lil Peep like I do, or if you hate Lil Peep, you can let me know in the comments why. I think he's a cool dude, as you've seen. I've hyped him up. Anyway, this is about you commenting. Let us know what you think. Thank you, though. I really appreciate it. I really, really do. It's cool that you want to hang out with us and talk about Peep.
Thank you.
Special thanks to the patrons, Lindell Williams, Ismail Gadamsi, Super Old School 1994, and Chris Prado. They support what we do with the long-term goal of getting better gear. We've got a couple of things in mind, a new camera that's better, you know, like better aesthetics, better stuff to come. So if you want to help us out, you can be able to join the request pool where you get to get a free album review, and then once a month, Patreon picks something that we cover. You get access to content early when we can, and then, like, you know, you just get your name on that card that you just saw. So yeah, thank y'all. Otherwise, if you're not into that, you can hit that subscribe because it still helps, that like or dislike because it still helps, that comments because it's the best part, and I'll answer you, I promise, as quick as I can. Sometimes you like comment and I'll be there like 2 minutes later because I spend way too much time in front of my computer. Anyway, thank y'all again. I can't say it enough. I appreciate it. It's cool. Let us know what you want us to cover in the future. Peace.
Laters.